Yo. What's up, buds? Welcome to another episode of the Earbuds Podcast. This is a podcast for two good friends.
Yep. Oh, did I interrupt?
Talk about one good album.
Yep, nice. Keep it going. One more.
For
It's the last.
for a good amount of time. I, as always, am your co-host, Ash fucking Nasty Hanran. And join with me, as always, is Lucas Stank Ass Motherfucker Indrakov.
Dirty bitch Inderkovs.
Dirty fucking soy boy Indrakov.
Hey.
And today we are gonna talk about an album that I brought in that you introduced me to, but you didn't know it, and I don't think you remembered it.
Yeah, so what's the album called? Real quick?
Do you need to listen to it real quick? Or?
Yeah, if we can just pause for 45 minutes so I can listen to this album.
No, we could just do it live.
Okay, we'll do it live. We're talking about First Temple by a band called Closure in Moscow that actually has a decent little following. They have a little over 100,000 listeners on Spotify.
I looked at their Wikipedia. It seemed like they were kind of more in their peak in their MySpace days in the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Yeah, 2009. I think the most of their stuff came out between 2008 and 2014. So they were kind of for 6 years they were very active, and then now they just released 2 new singles this year. So
yeah,
they're doing new stuff.
We're recording on June 14th. I believe on June 21st or whatever the next Friday is when their new album's coming out.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah, which I had no idea about when I brought this to you.
This is good timing. We should release this episode next week.
We gotta hurry.
Yeah, we gotta hurry. So we're listening to the album First Temple. And I remember, so at the end of the last episode, you said that this was an album that I had introduced to you from my Album of the Day reviews that I did a few years ago. I've never heard this album before in my life.
That is not possible.
I've never heard this record before. It wasn't me that showed you this
Motherfucker.
It wasn't me.
Okay, well, fuck. Okay, well, here's the picture of the review, because I'm gonna put it in.
I didn't listen to this album.
What the fuck are you saying?
I didn't listen to this album. Okay, wait, let me look it up.
I would have never known about this fucking band if I hadn't been looking at your Album of the Day Instagram posts.
Here's how I know that I didn't listen to this album. Because I have a playlist of all of my, I was calling choice nugs at the time, my favorite songs from every record that I listened to that year. This doesn't show up on there. And even records that I didn't like Faye Webster and fucking DaBaby and, all these other records I listened to, I still put their choice nugs on this playlist. Closure in Moscow does not show up in here. I've never heard this before in my life.
If I'm not able to find this on your Instagram, I'm gonna be real fucking.
I swear I'm not gaslighting
freaked
you.
out a little bit.
I swear I'm not gaslighting you. I think you just have a little bit of revisionist history. Someone else told you about this.
Are you Mandela affecting me right now?
I think I'm Mandela affecting you right now. Because I'm telling you, this didn't show up. This did not show up. And I listened to this album right after we finished recording last week or whatever. Never heard any of that before in my life. Well, that's a stretch because I've definitely heard this before in my life, but not this band. We'll get into it.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, well, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
And I want to get into that aspect of it early on because
right off the bat, tell me how this isn't Mars Volta.
The Mars Volta.
Light. Yeah. Tell me how this isn't that.
It is that.
Right.
But that's why I want to get this done early on, because I want to scoot past that.
Let's see.
I believe
we can scooch past it in a bit.
I believe this album and this band stand on their own merits, and I think they are worthy of unique criticism without a comparison to the Mars Volta for this whole review, even though they share a lot of similar elements relating to things like the singer's voice,
Yes.
the guitarist's tendencies,
Yes.
the
drummer.
progginess of their songs.
Yeah, the drummer is very prog,
Very active.
jazzy, active, Mars Volta-esque. Like, your initial impression when you're listening to this album is that this is a cheap ripoff of Mars Volta.
Yes.
But there's actually a lot more to it when you break it down. Because to me, yeah, the first time I listened to it, I was like, okay, it is very Mars Volta. Even though I don't remember listening to this and I don't remember recommending it to you, I'm like, yes, I would have recommended this album to you because I know how much you love Mars Volta. And I'm like, this is just an extension of it. This is someone else doing something really similar. But upon further review, I actually hear a lot more punk in this than I do Mars Volta, specifically Seosin and Circa Survive, which I don't know if you ever listened to either of those bands.
I have not.
I barely even listen to Seosin in my life, but I've listened to a lot of Circa Survive. I love them. I love anything Anthony Green does, but for some reason Seosin just like never really stuck with me. And this album reminds me more of Seosin than anyone else after listening to it over and over and over again.
Interesting.
Yeah, and when I went to the Wikipedia page, first off, kind of weird. Any website that reviewed this record is like gone.
Oh shit!
This review like doesn't exist on the internet anymore. Like there was like 5 or 6 reviews. They don't exist anymore. It got great reviews actually. Like from their Wikipedia page, I can see they got like this was a well liked record, but every comparison that was on their Wikipedia page was brought up Mars Volta, Seosin, and Circa Survive. And I thought that before I even started doing the research. So I was like, okay, then it's there. That sound is definitely there. Those influences are very apparent.
I would say, I would describe it to people, it's the Mars Volta if they didn't have all that like Latin influence in their music.
It's completely, there's no Latin influence on this record at all.
Much more, I think it's like, saying it's much more American is a weird way of putting it.
Because they're Australian. But also there's a lot more. Would you say this is more math rock than anything else?
There are a lot of different timings. There's a lot of different, what the fuck is that called?
Time signatures?
Time signatures.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say to the point that it has that weird stumbly awkwardness that math rock always kind of has to me.
Yeah, it's because there's a lot of groove on this record where math rock does not have any.
Yes.
Groove. Yeah.
It can be a very dancey record. It is, to me at least, a very catchy record.
It is very catchy. Like you have songs like Sweet. What is it? How do you even pronounce that?
Sweetheart. I kind of just ignore the little number symbol.
The weird spellings that they did that a few times on this record where they just spell shit really oddly for some reason.
Yeah. Like
the first song, Kissing Cousins, for some reason the K and the I in Kissing Cousins are capitalized. Like, I don't understand why they did that.
Is it?
Yeah, at least on Spotify it is.
Oh, that's what the fuck? I never noticed that.
Dude, that's like the first thing that like my brain goes like it like focuses on little shit like that just like stands out as wrong. That's why I'm really good at like that data entry and like copyright review, because I can see when something's misspelled. It's like my eyes pick up on it immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's it's like songs like Sweetheart are super super dancey and catchy, and for the most part that's why it's like when I say math rock, like I ask like, is this more math rock than anything else? I would say this is like 25% math rock, 25% whatever kind of punk you would call Seosin or Circa Survive, like, because I don't know what kind of punk you would call that. Maybe emo, and then like 25% Mars Volta. And then the rest is like experimental, because they have really interesting instrumentation on some of these songs.
Yes.
Where like they purposefully did that, apparently. Like they wanted to make this album a little different than their first one, Penance and the Patience, because they got so many Seosin comparisons on that record that they're like, okay, we just sound like we're doing Seosin. Like we need to kind of introduce something different here. So it was cool that they brought in like a double bass, and they brought in like steel guitar and
Yeah.
some old instrument with like these 20-year-old strings. That's like I forget what it's called. Oh,
It's
dobro.
like a dobro. Yeah.
Yeah. Trumpet, trombone. Like they kind of like brought in some new stuff in this. They have a couple of tracks that are more kind of like not throwaway tracks, but almost like interludes that are just a minute and a half of just them doing something kind of different and
Yeah.
quiet and moody.
Yeah.
So it's not like nonstop rock music. It's they do a lot of different things on this.
No, I think throughout the album it is kind of moving the whole time.
Yeah.
Aside from these like little intermissions, like the drums are usually pretty active no matter what they're doing, but they will have these more intimate moments and like softer moments. They turn the distortion off. The singer's kind of like fucking holding your hand and singing to you.
Yeah, yeah. I think like the music on the whole record is like really nuanced. Like there's so many things going on
Yeah, especially
all the
with
time,
the guitars,
especially with the
I would
guitars.
say.
Like it's like they make it, but they make it sound. They change time signatures within a song, 2, 3, 4 times sometimes.
Multiple
But they
times.
make it they make those transitions so smooth that you don't even notice that your brain is supposed to be getting like fucking whiplash from all the dynamics that they're doing. Like there's and bringing up dynamics is like this band is also really good at playing with the dynamics of like bringing it loud and soft and going
Yeah.
from like really kind of overwhelmingly layered hard rock to like airy soundscape quiet, and then
Yeah.
like so much prog in there that like I also kind of picked up on like Protest the Hero type vibes on this. Also, you never listen to them.
Nah.
They're a really proggy metal band. They're fucking sick. And I actually saw in my research that they like opened up for Protest the Hero on like a tour. I'm just like, yep, that
Let's go.
checks. But yeah, man, there's a lot of dynamics on this record, and but it's everything feels so. The combination of the guitar and the drums to me gave this album like so much sway, if that makes sense. Like the music feels like you're just kind of swaying because the
Yeah.
guitars have that type of
A
stuff.
lot of a lot of the time it seems like they're kind of using effect pedals. They're kind of picking out like note more so than
Lots of
like
licky stuff.
a lot of licky stuff
Yeah.
kind of going on in the background, but it's the guitars seem a little more subdued so that it's not like the thing you're focusing on throughout the song.
Yeah,
Is like
the guitar and the bass just play so well off of each other on it, on
yeah, and
everything they're
I
doing.
like production wise, I love the production on this album.
It's
I
surprisingly
think
crisp for how much
yeah,
is going on.
it's very crisp. The drums are like sharp, and
Punchy.
they sound real nice. I love the bass tone.
Dude,
That
so do
might be a
I.
little controversial.
No, I think it works really well for this in a weird way. Like, and all I could think
Yeah,
of was, I bet this guy's playing an Ernie Ball bass.
it's kind of like you can definitely hear like the jingle of the strings as he plays it. It's like a little distorted.
Yeah,
It's like kind of tinny in a way,
but
but
almost
like
like
it's
twangy.
still
It's like
yeah.
twang,
It's
twang, twang. Like,
like it sounds like it shouldn't work, but it extremely does, and it's inspiring me to use that kind of tone on some new music I'm working on.
yeah, and it almost sounds like he's doing like um slap bass at times. It's like boom, boom, king, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't know if he's picking it or slapping it or whatever, but yeah, it's very unique for sure to this. Like Duncan Miller is a cool bassist, and it's like Kissing Cousins, I think, is a great lead in to the record of just like this is what you can kind of look forward to.
yeah. Yeah, for
with
sure.
especially with that random like bass shit that he's doing. It's just like, dude, this should be fucking lame for me, and because I don't like prog rock at all. And we'll get into. I mean, I didn't necessarily love this album. Like we'll break it down a little bit more, but it's those little elements like that. I'm just like, you made that shit work, and I have to commend you for it. You know, like you made me like something that I usually hate.
There you go, man.
Yeah,
It's good stuff.
yeah, but the production
I
is
think,
great on this album.
yeah, I think the vocals also work the whole time. I love the like backup vocals and the harmonies throughout this album. I think another thing that they do share with Mars Volta that I think is like kind of like they definitely took this from Mars Volta is the kind of off kilter lyrics, big words like that you never see around. You don't understand what the dude's fucking talking about the whole time.
I could barely understand what he was saying most of the.
Yeah, and it's kind of indecipherable in the music.
Yeah,
Even so, the lyrics are colorful enough, but they don't really get in the way that you're distracted by it.
I mean, dude, number 2, Reindeer Age. I mean, like that is just Mars Volta.
Look, yeah,
Right? I mean, but then you have
but
like
can I not be a person who likes another Mars Volta?
No.
Can another Mars Volta? I mean, we got fucking Greta Van Fleet out here who is Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
and they have all this fucking fame, and no one cares about it. And I'm
no,
over
a
here
lot of
just
people have a problem with that band.
well, yeah, maybe so, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that they aren't wildly successful.
Oh, they're so fucking huge. It's crazy. And a lot of people like will fight fire with fire where they're just like, man, all you motherfuckers that always say like, why aren't there any more bands like Led Zeppelin and old Aerosmith and blah blah, and then someone comes out that's like it and you're hating on them because they sound like all that old shit. And it's just like, I think people are hating on Greta Van Fleet because they sound exactly like fucking Led Zeppelin. They're not like using that as a jumping off point. They're just recreating Led Zeppelin songs, and the singer is obnoxious as fuck.
I think Greta Van Fleet is the worst offender of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
That it like not just the music, not just that the vocalist is trying to hit the notes.
He's a screechy Robert Plant is all he is.
But it's also it's the aesthetic. It's a 4-piece band, singer, bassist, guitarist, drummer.
Yep.
They have the aesthetic of Led Zeppelin. The singer has like a feather in his hair and he's like a hippie.
They're all wearing like
and
blouses.
the drummer is like it's just the same fucking thing. They just want to be Led Zeppelin in any case.
Yes.
I love the Mars Volta. They are one of my favorite bands. They're like always one of the first bands I think of when I'm naming my favorites. But I love this music, and I think it's different enough from Mars Volta that it can stand on its own, but it still gives me those like kind of cool musical goosebumps that Mars Volta gives me.
Which I totally understand, because it's like where you want, you probably haven't gotten the Mars Volta that you've wanted in a long time, like the music that you've wanted them to write.
Yeah.
When you hear this and you're just like, oh yes, thank you. Like this is like a version of Mars Volta that you want to hear, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then they go on to like their next album, Pink Lemonade, I think it's called.
Which I think is like their most popular one. It seems like.
Is it?
I think it is like their most successful album.
They take even more steps to kind of separate themselves from this like 3-band connection that they have. It's a lot less proggy. It's a lot more kind of poppy.
Oh,
and like I'm into it. I love this album more, but it's also a good album.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about this fucking album.
Yeah, we're talking about goddamn this album. First Temple.
This
I think we keep talking about the Mars Volta comparisons, and I think it's really easy to bring up Christopher DeSink, the singer, as being very. Who's the singer of Mars Volta? I always forget if it's Omar or.
I think it's Cedric Bixler Zavala.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the singer.
He's
I always get him mixed up.
I know, so do I. I never really knew who was who. But he sounds so much like Caesar, you said?
Cedric.
Cedric. But I pick up on a lot of Anthony Green, who's like the singer of Circus Survive, and I think Seosin, and he was also like the singer of Sound of Animals Fighting, and he's done a lot of like, and he has tons of solo stuff. He has a great band right now called Fucking Whatever. They're fucking great. But Christopher DeSink, even though clearly has major influences on his singing style and all that stuff, he is still fucking awesome. He has a great voice, and he's super versatile in what he's doing.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think there's a lot of he brings a lot of talent in the melodies he brings.
Yeah.
And he has he's got a wide range.
Yeah, he's
honestly
really versatile. Like he can do a lot.
Yeah.
And actually like I think the guitarist Mansur, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Like he does a lot of backup vocals too. Like they have great harmonized moments on this record too.
There are a lot of moments where I'm a sucker for call and response type of stuff. And there's a good amount of that on this record.
Yes, definitely. They definitely lean hard on that too. But it's like just across the board, the musicianship on this album is just really impressive, man.
I think it's
everyone's incredible.
The amount of time they put into this record, into making these songs, I think is a big reason why we gotta separate it.
Yeah.
They put a lot of work into this. They put a lot of fucking... even if you don't like the music, I think you can appreciate that like they spent a lot of time on this music, and they spent a lot of time coming up with all these parts and stuff.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, I think like trying to look at their albums. Yeah, I guess their first EP came out in 2008, and then a year later they released this record. So that's pretty fucking impressive that within a year they can write these incredibly layered, meticulously written and played rock songs that are like not short. All these songs are pretty much 4 minutes or longer.
It is like an hour-long album.
Yeah,
sure.
I think it's 45 minutes, but it feels like an hour. And let's get into my complaints about this album.
Let's, please, yeah.
I think my main complaint, other than the stupid silly one about like the way that they spell some of their song titles, it's that a lot of this record, I think the first two songs, maybe even the first three, are different enough from each other that you can hear their range a little bit and like what they're trying to do. But then songs 4, 5, 6, and 7 are all the exact same to me. And then 8 and 9 are kind of cool, and then the rest of the album is just like back to this like same shit. Like I feel like all their songs are so similar that I got bored a lot. And I think the we keep bringing up Mars Volta, which I'm trying not to, but it's hard not to. But it's like, I think the magic of Mars Volta is that you never really know what you're going to get from track to track. And I never really got surprised by any of these songs, by what they were doing. And I actually have the same issue with Seosin. That's why I don't really listen to a lot of Seosin. I feel like all their songs are so similar that it's just nothing catches me off guard. Nothing surprises me. So at one point I was like, okay, what was that? Song number 6, song number 5, song number 7. It's like, I didn't even care to look at the titles after a little bit, because I'm just like, this is just next track. Like, and nothing really stood out to me for the most part on this record.
I think comparing the Mars Volta's fluidity and surprising musical elements to anything is a little unfair. But I also, because it's the fucking Mars Volta. They're extremely like singular.
They got a lot going on.
Like, and pulling from influences that we don't usually hear. And like, this album definitely pulls from, like, the song structures are a lot more traditional than you would find on even other like progressive albums.
For sure. Like all their time signature changes and all that stuff. It's not like it doesn't feel like Dream Theater or anything like that.
No.
Like this is pretty straightforward rock songwriting.
They still are kind of going like intro verse chorus bridge. Like they're still doing that. But
there's just a lot in there in between.
There's a lot in there. I don't see it as a bad thing. I'd see this as a great first step into kind of more progressive offbeat music.
Yeah, I think this is a good midpoint for a lot of people, where it's like if it's hard for you to get into Mars Volta because of their randomness and they refuse to stick to one thing for longer than 10, 20, 30 seconds. Yeah. But you like really fucking well played, really well written rock music and you like the kind of whiny vocals and all that stuff, then like you're probably going to love this album. And I think this is a really weirdly underground, not talked about record for this genre.
It seems like it had its moment and it hasn't been talked about since, just because I assume it's because this band has in a week or two has released 3 albums in their whole like
almost 15-year life.
Yeah.
It's surprising what a long break they took, and I don't necessarily know why. I'm sure there's information out there about it.
If they said it was to make these albums, if they said they were taking this time to make these albums, I wouldn't scoff at that. I think musicians and artists in general need more time for things like this. Like,
that's true.
The Mars Volta releasing an album every year is fucking insane, especially to the level that they were doing it at. I think like something like this every 4 or 5 years is extremely reasonable.
And I think it's worth the wait, especially if you love this type of rock music. It's like, it's worth the wait because they're gonna, from judging from this album alone, which is the only thing I've heard by them, it's like they're gonna put the effort in to make this as good as they possibly can before they release it, which I can definitely appreciate. Like one of our favorite bands that we share is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and even they released 5 records in a year or something, and then and then kind of fell off, but then they released 3 in a month, and they're doing all this stuff. Like they seem like they're just releasing, they're writing it, they're recording it, and they're releasing it. It's like and it's very fleshed out music, but none of it feels like low effort. But not all of it is to the quality and songwriting and the presentation of the music that me and you would want to hear from them. So even though King Gizzard is definitely one of my top 5 favorite rock bands ever, I don't like all their shit. I don't like every album that they put out. And it's like, if inevitable. They waited even a year between records, every record would be fucking amazing.
Yeah. I think
I fully believe
probably the case.
Right?
Speaking of which, dude.
Yeah,
this fucking
dude.
At this moment, 2 singles from their new album have been released, and they're just basically doing Infest the Rat's Nest again, and I am so excited about it.
They're almost doing it to a better degree, to a higher degree than they did that record.
Dude, fucking Dragon?
Dragon was amazing. It is an amazing song. I love Gilla Monster too. Gilla was almost more fun as a track. Like, it was more fun to listen to, but Dragon, there were multiple moments when I was listening to that I was like, "Oh my god, holy shit." Like,
I was just fucking I was stank faced the fuck up. I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. Oh. So many moments like that those two, if those 2 singles are any indication of the new record that they're coming out with, it's going to be one of my favorite records by them. No fucking doubt.
Dude. Lucas, can you do me a favor?
Probably.
Can you close your eyes and tell me which one of us is going to see King Gizzard on Friday?
You son of a bitch bastard.
It's me, baby!
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm going to see... Dude, I had no idea they were even here, and Riley told me about it last night.
And you still
it
got tickets?
they're playing 3 nights at this farm, like
That's
40
right.
minutes outside
And
of
they're playing like
Seattle.
3 hours a night, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty
I
sure they
guess I'll
are.
fucking find
I think
out.
that's their deal.
And
Oh,
the
it's gonna be
tickets were like
awesome.
$40.
Holy
And
shit.
so it's like, yeah, let's fucking go. And I showed Riley these new singles. Like, we were moving her into her new apartment, listening to King Gizzard the whole time, and she was like, "They better play a bunch of shit off this new album."
I would be amazed if they don't play those two songs back to back, because even though it's two separate tracks, it feels like it should have been like a 14-minute long song versus 9 minutes and 4 minutes or whatever.
Dude.
It's so good, dude.
So
so
fucking excited. This is like one of my bucket list bands to see live.
Yeah, they're fucking great live, man. I saw them at Stubbs in Austin. So much
No
fun.
shit.
Yeah.
When was that?
That was 2019? 2018?
So fuck, what was out? What was their latest album
Oh,
when you saw them?
damn, let me look it up. Because what was great about seeing them live is that they played not even a medley. They played like 5 or 6 songs from every album up until that point. So I would say the last album that came out before then was Infest the Rat's Nest.
Nice.
So yeah, they played shit from everything, dude. Like everything before. They played for a solid 2 hours, if not more. And that was just a regular show. Like, what they're going to do for you in Seattle is, like, they just got done at Red Rocks and they're going to go to Seattle after that. And they're full on playing, I think, either full albums 3 nights in a row, or they're playing nonstop for like 3 hours or 4 hours 3 nights in a row.
Damn,
Should be amazing, dude.
I should definitely figure that out. Like, Riley had only like heard Butterfly 3000 and other music from them like that, and thought that's all they were.
Ooh, no.
So like, nope. But no. I gotta figure this out, because if it's like a fucking 3-hour show, I should probably warn her about it.
It is gonna be a 3-hour show.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Does it say are you like on the website? Are you like looking at it?
I'm trying to look it up. Let me see if they have anything on their actual website.
Give me the deets.
Let's see. Wait, what is this? Wait a second. Oh, yeah, they do have a new album coming out. Petrodragonic Apocalypse. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Fuck yes!
The album art is so fucking cool, too. Alright, what are y'all doing in Seattle?
In Seattle, Friday, June 16th.
Damn, they don't have any details.
Fuck. Alright, well, fine. Whatever we get is what we get. But
yes.
I'm gonna forewarn Riley and be like, hey, well, let's hunker down.
Yeah, because Christina
maybe bring some seats.
For sure. Christina went to it's like the U.S. residency tour. God, every show is sold out. That's amazing.
Damn.
Except Seattle somehow. No, Seattle sold out. But yeah, it doesn't say what they're going to be playing or anything. Anyway, let's get back to.
Do you have any other gripes with this album?
Any other gripes?
Yeah.
No, just
aside from
just for me, it became really same, despite how intricate and layered and crazy the music is. It's not something I really generally gravitate towards either in terms of rock music. Like, it was a little too much like Seosin for me to like be into it for an entire record. But that was really about it. I mean, like we've already said so much. Like, I really appreciate everything else about this record, other than just like, it is just not my cup of tea when it comes to rock music.
Sure.
Yeah. So I can appreciate it a lot for sure.
I guess we'll do ratings or nugs. I forget which we're doing first.
Let's do a rating. I'll do my rating real quick.
Okay. I'm going to be higher than you, if you're okay with that.
I'd be worried if you weren't. because I think you definitely like this album a lot more than me.
Because this one's not getting above a 3. So I'll just set the bar there.
Okay. Out of 5 or out of 3?
I added like 50.
Jesus Christ.
It's a fucking trash.
These poor bastards. Yeah, no, man. Everything we've already said, like, just there's a lot to take away from this record. There's a lot to appreciate in this record, even if you're not a fan of the music necessarily. It's like, as a musician, there's so much to appreciate and unpack and listen to and get kind of like nerdy about on this album. Yeah. There were definitely a handful of songs that I liked a lot. I liked it more the first time I heard it, and then every time after that just kind of like became a little bit more and more of a slog, just because of that sort of middle point and the end of the record that just really just took me out of it every time I listened to it. But musicianship is incredible. The production's great. The singer is amazing. And yeah, man, it's just one of those things. It's like your head and your heart are kind of battling each other a little bit. Because it's like my heart is like, yeah, I just can't get into this for some reason. And my head's like, but it's so well played and well written. Like,
But what do we fucking favor here on the podcast?
Feelings.
It's fucking what we think, man, what we feel, how it affected us. If it affected us at all.
We're not thinkers, we're feelers.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's be honest here. Well, with all that said, it's gonna sound harsh, my score or my rating, but I think I'm just being honest. I'm gonna give it.
Let it out.
I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
A 5. Shit.
I know. I was like, this is gonna sound harsh, and it might be harsh, but it's just like, it's just kind of. I don't even the songs that even my honorable mentions and my choice nugs, I don't think I'm gonna listen to again on my free time. It was actually kind of hard for me to pick another choice nug.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's fucking sad for
you, And I think I was
bud.
being pretty generous with my honorable mentions also.
That's a sad life you live. Are you okay?
No, we talked about it before recording. I'm not okay. I'm living a sad life right now.
Man. Well, fuck. Yeah, this might be I think it's been a little bit since we've had a differential this wide on an album.
Probably. I mean, I'm curious to hear what yours is going to be. I'm guessing you're going to be up in the 8s.
I'm going to be up there. Yes, it's Mars Volta. Okay, let's get that out of the way.
Yes.
All right? Let's forget about that for a second.
I can do that.
It's great music. It's layered. It's interesting. It's catchy. It's groovy. You can dance to a lot of it, but it's also very musically rich.
It's incredibly rich, for sure.
I love the guitar work on everything. I'm a fucking bonehead, so I love the drumming because it's just active a lot of the time.
Dang it, dude.
I love the production of everything. I think the more traditional song structure isn't a downside for me, though I can understand why someone who's looking for a more progressive thing might be dissatisfied with it.
Okay.
Any gripes I have with this album, I guess I'd say...
Complaints?
Huh?
Do you have any complaints?
I'm trying to think about it.
I'm gonna stand up. Keep going. Wait. Actually, that was really loud. Let's not do that. I'm gonna mute my mic.
Are you fucking okay? Can I keep talking? Is it okay? Okay, I'm gonna keep talking. Right now, I guess I can't think of any downsides. I'm not gonna give it a 10, but that's just because not a lot of stuff is gonna get a 10. Not a lot of stuff is gonna get up past like.
Insane if you give this a fucking 10.
No,
I would
be ridiculous.
Be mad at you if you gave this a 10.
Though I could see some people giving it a 10, especially like I don't know, back when it came out in like 2009,
Yeah.
where it's like I think there were like 3 or 4 Mars Volta albums that had come out around that time, but
Dude, Bedlam and Goliath was right around this time.
is that right?
I think so.
Yeah. But I love this album. I love singing along with it, even though I don't know most of the words.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun fucking album. So I'm giving this one like a 9.3.
Jesus Christ. That is a huge rating. That is a very high score.
It's a very, yeah, man. I didn't tell you this, but I've been kind of listening to this album on loop for like the last couple weeks.
Oh shit.
And
that's why you brought it up for the show?
yeah, that's one of the reasons I brought it up. Is like I'm listening to this so much, I kind of just want to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, this wasn't on your list, right? On like our little shared document.
No, because I also didn't tell you this, that the first time I listened to it, like the first 3 times I listened to it, I didn't think anything of it.
What? Why'd you even listen to it again, man?
I don't know. I was like,
Something brought you back.
I want to listen to something that sounds like I want to listen to something that has complexity, that's rich, active drums, but it's also catchy and groovy.
Yeah.
And there aren't a lot of bands that fit that specific niche for me, and this was one of them. I got back onto it.
It's like made for you because they combine the intricacies of a Mars Volta type band with the dancey catchiness of something like a Two Door Cinema Club or like a Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the lyrics are more comprehensible.
For sure.
So, you know, it's not
none of these
saying
songs are
too
in
much.
Spanish, so like
At least I can like understand that these are all English words.
right, but it's
So that's a
Australian
plus.
English, so it's like are they really speaking English, you know?
It's like, what are they actually saying?
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, that's my fucking rating.
9.4,
Let's, huh?
9.4?
9.3.
Hoochie mama.
Let's talk about our Nar Nugs and our Narnerable mentions. You said you have one. You basically picked one favorite song that you were like, this is for sure one of my favorite songs. Then everything else was kind of a throw up.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to think of a few in the mix of like I don't want to call them duds, but the few in the mix of like the songs that I couldn't really get that excited about and be like, well, I have to have at least one honorable mention, you know, like something that I like a little bit more than the rest, you know, and that wasn't necessarily that hard. It was hard for me to pick a second favorite, but I have 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
The first one is Reindeer Age, the second track on the record. Is that one of your choice nugs? Let's get into it.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
That intro, could that be more Mars Volta?
It's a soft intro with a triangle and like these little and then it explodes into it's
like
very Mars Volta in that way.
Crazy guitar work in that song.
I love the momentum of this song.
Yeah.
Where it kind of starts off, starts off choppy, it gets a little more rapid, then the chorus comes in, big drum fill. It's so fucking, it's exactly my speed.
Yeah, all the harmonized vocals are fucking great. The bass during the verse. I mean, even like,
yes.
I mean, you hear Christopher's voice in this song and you're like, dude, this could be Cedric, and I wouldn't be surprised if you told me. Even the melodies. Never everyone.
I was gonna tell everyone. Yeah.
Like, yeah. And then, like going up super high.
Yeah.
It's
for
so
sure.
Mars Volta, but I love the verses on this song are like really fucking cool because you have the drums and the guitar and the bass that are all like seemingly hitting different beats. but it's like because the guitar is only playing the 2 and the 4 or whatever, and then the bass is only playing the 1 and the 3 and or whatever, and then the drums are in between all that. It's just like all so like fleshed out and fluid, and I love the bass during the verse. That
that's kind of like one of the slap moments.
Insane, yeah, like insane bass work, insane guitar work, and drum work on that.
I love on the chorus where there's that, as I was like, kind of the backup vocals are helping a lot. Yeah, just like love that shit.
Expertly done on that for sure.
Yeah. What's another one of your honorable mentions?
My only other honorable mention is Afterbirth.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Afterbirth was really cool. This sun is like directly in the middle of my fucking face, and I can't do anything about it. You know what I'm gonna do?
On you.
You know what I'm gonna do?
What's that? Is it gonna be funny?
Nope.
Is it gonna be interesting?
I'm just gonna accept the light, and to me this is better than having a fucking white dot on my head.
How on earth is that better?
I'm going with it, baby. No one's watching our videos anyway. This is an audio only podcast. Who gives a shit? But Afterbirth really stood out to me because of that intro, that weird whammy guitar intro that is just like, this is like if Rage Against the Machine and Mars Volta wrote a song together.
Yeah, it does kind of have that.
The groove. Down. Yeah, it's just like this really groovy, funky rhythm, and then it's so Mars Volta when they like really get into it. It's just such an interesting mix of styles, and the fucking like really proggy jazz rhythms that the drums playing. And I would say honestly, next to Reindeer Games, or is it Reindeer Games? It's not Reindeer Games. That's
Reindeer Age.
Reindeer Age. Next to Reindeer Age, Afterbirth is the most Mars Volta song on the record. But I love that, like, that dun 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 dun.
They go into the chorus. Do you feel that? Feel that respiration? Yeah. They're really like slamming, and then they kind of go off, and then they come back and they're slamming.
That like, because there's so much of like balls to the wall, really fast rhythms, like really fucking loud, chaotic music, that when they break it down, they slow it down like that. It's just like, those moments like were my favorite on the record, because it's like that respite of like, it doesn't have to be crazy the whole time. Even though we talked about like their dynamics in terms of like getting loud and quiet, it's like, I still want them to be heavy, but it's like slow it down. And when they cut that tempo in half, it's like, that's really, really nice to listen to. But one of my choice nugs is the opening track, Kissing Cousins.
Kissing Cousins, yeah. I think it's a great way to start off the album, like you said earlier. It starts off with those drums doing the weird cross-stick hi-hat pattern with this, like, undecipherable medley of strings.
Yeah, I couldn't, honestly... I'm sure that there's 7 or 8 or 9 different things actually being played at once here.
Yeah.
But like we've said, like the production and the mixing is so good, and just the instrumentation and the songwriting is really good on this record, that it's like there could be 9 things happening at once, but it's like your brain just hears the full form of it, you know? So it doesn't feel overwhelming or anything. So like I feel, and like I said, Kissing Cousins, I feel like is such a perfect intro track, perfect opening track for this album, because it really just kind of like shows you a little bit of everything that they can do, and a little bit of everything that you're going to hear on the album. And it's super catchy. Like, it never ends. It never ends. It's just like super fucking great chorus, man.
I love how they structured the vocals in the chorus. It never ends. It never, it never ends. It's just like, I love when you like just don't know where the vocals are going to come from.
Yeah. You don't know which ear you're supposed to be like favoring the moment or anything. Yeah. Really good. And then just tons of the prog stuff all over this. And the bassist was the first thing that stood out to me. especially on this song. It's just like, okay, the bass is gonna be fucking awesome this whole record. Good to know.
Yeah.
Do you have any honorable mentions before we go into our second choices?
I do have some honorable mentions. Sweetheart was a very close contender.
I heard that and I was like, this is such an Ash song. And it doesn't surprise me that the album that they came out after this one kind of like went more into that style. That totally fucking checks out for me because I'm like, that Sweetheart is such a that extension of making it more dancey and having all the hi-hat kind of dancey stuff
Yeah.
in there. I'm just like, that's just, you hear it on Sweetheart and you're like, well, you know how to fucking make that work with your style, and it somehow blends so well with like this rock that you guys are already playing. It doesn't surprise me that they were just like, let's just do more of that, you know?
And yeah, and in that vein, A Night at the Spleen is another one of
Yeah.
my honorables.
Yeah.
It's also very like dancey and rhythmic. It's
And on A Night of the Spleen, why don't they play more guitar solos on this record? The solo in A Night of the Spleen is so good. And they don't do any other guitar solos on the whole record.
yeah, they really don't focus on, like, they'll have little moments, like little jammy moments and little soft moments, but not really a lot of stuff like that.
No.
Are you
Yeah, not enough. Just
are
trying to
you
like
good?
trying to get in the light completely here. Here we go.
You look like you're wearing a fucking helmet.
Yeah, I look like I'm a Spartan.
Do you like that?
Maybe a little bit.
All right. Real quick, fucking Deluge was one of my honorables, and my second choice nug is Vanguard.
Vanguard. That was the one that I got major Kyoto's Circus Survive vibes on that song.
It's like I just can't deny the chorus. I love how they build up to it, and then they just like cut off. And then kind of, don't you dare speak that name. Don't you ever speak that. That. You know, another backup vocal thing.
Dude, whenever in my notes I say I love when they go heavy because in Vanguard they do that, like they go heavy and then they fucking like cut the tempo in half. And I'm like,
Yeah.
more of this, please. Like more of this, like changing the tempo in that way. Like it's such a simple trick to just cut a tempo in half, and like it sounds so much heavier when they do that. But then it feels like those moments where like the guitars are playing really high up on the neck for most of that song, and then when they play the chorus and they cut it in half and they're playing it, they go
Make it nice and full.
like,
Yeah.
It's just, it works so well.
You didn't know. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming.
Have you
So
been listening
cool.
to this? So you've been listening to this album for a few years now.
I'd say I got really into it like a year ago, and only recently has it been on regular rotation.
Got it. So you have all these songs memorized?
Like, when it's fucking names like this, where it's like fucking Arecibo Message and Deluge, like, I can't fucking keep it straight.
I know, that's why it just became track number 6, track number 7, track number 8
Yeah.
for me. Well, you already mentioned my other choice nug,
What is it, sir?
Deluge.
Deluge.
I think it was specifically the drum work I liked a lot on Deluge. Like some of his fills on this song are fucking killer.
They're tasty.
They're super tasty. And
Fucking tasty.
again, they cut that chorus tempo in half. And it's so effective, man. I love when they really drag out those chords. It just adds so much to the song. And because they do it so rarely on the album, it stands out so much when they do it. So it's just like Deluge, just like when at first, the beginning of Deluge, I was like, okay, this is kind of like picking up a little bit more than like the 3-4 tracks before that I was just kind of bored with. But then once the chorus in Deluge, because the first like measure of the chorus is like just kind of like regular time, like 4/4 or whatever, and then after a measure, that's when they like really like start ringing it out and do this like really punky, kind of emo-y type of
It is very
rhythm.
emo. It's like a
Yeah.
very like MCR until it
Yeah.
is over.
Yeah, dude. And there was something about that chorus melody that
Yeah.
whatever that reminded me so much of a song, and it took me a while to figure out what it was, but it's actually an RX Bandit song that sounds like that.
Which one?
Nothing Sacred on Progress. It's like, when did we ever get so bored? Nothing sacred, nothing sacred. La, na, na,
I can
na.
see that.
It's the same that na, 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 is the same in
Yeah,
both of the
yeah,
songs.
yeah.
And like, probably a big reason why I like Deluge also is like, it reminds me of RX Bandits. So that's
You're
easy.
just looking for anything on this 5 out of 5 album.
I mean,
Thank you for that rating, by the way.
Oh yeah, no worries. Again, revisionist history. I. It's weird that we have been talking about Mars Volta so much on this, and we haven't mentioned RX Bandits. So I'm like, it's only natural for a band that kind of sounds like Mars Volta, that at some point they're also going to sound like RX Bandits, because those bands are so similar to me now.
Yeah. I was really trying to fucking... I told myself,
Avoid.
like, I'm going to say the Mars Volta thing at the beginning, and then I'm not going to say it, but it's
So
right there.
present, man.
It's right there.
It's right there.
I still love this band. I think they are fucking... Like, much like Action Bronson is burdened with the Ghostface comparison,
Yes,
they will always be burdened with the Mars Volta
for sure.
fucking Sausin comparison.
For sure. Even like Circus Survive, I was surprised that even Circus Survive came up in the reviews or in the Wikipedia page. I was like, wow, I haven't even thought of Circus Survive in like 10 years, and it's crazy that this band like gets compared to them also. Have you heard any of the new singles?
No, I haven't, but like Pink Lemonade was honestly different enough that I feel like it'd be unfair to say all their music sounds like these couple bands.
Right, because I haven't heard Pink Lemonade at all, but if it sounds more dancey, I would imagine it's like we brought up, like Two Door Cinema Club, Franz Ferdinand type dance rock music.
It's like even it's like a lot less. It's okay. It's less proggy. I don't know what happened there. I like restarted a couple times. It's less proggy. It's a little more poppy. It still does have those elements of pop in there. It's not as full and as heavy as this album by any means. I don't think you would enjoy that album more. But I guess I also wouldn't be surprised. I doubt you're gonna look into it after this.
No, especially if it's more dancey. I don't like. If you told me that it was heavier than this record, I would definitely check it out.
Nah.
Yeah.
We'll see about this new one. The art for this new one looks cool at least.
It kind of reminds me of Every Time I Die. The artwork.
How many times do you die?
I think 9 times. Everyone gets 9. Everyone gets 9, right?
Yeah, no, okay, yeah, I forgot about that.
Right?
I just got rid of 8 of those, like right off the bat, in
Like-
like years 1 to 2. So
Yeah, you just stuck a lot of forks into outlets and shit.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was kind of cool.
Did you ever
kind
have
of a cool
moment in your
baby?
life that you probably should have died?
Huh?
Do you ever have a moment in your life that you probably should have died? Like something that you did or something that
I mean-
almost happened?
Yeah, but I usually don't like to think about those moments.
I just specifically thought of like being a little kid and getting rid of 8 of your 9 lives. I'm like, yeah, there was definitely one that I almost got rid of. I almost got blasted by a car when I was a kid.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well.
Anyway, what do you guys
Anyway,
think?
thank y'all for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Like, do you guys like Closure in Moscow? Have you ever heard this album? Are you gonna listen to this album after this? I know our buddy, our mutual friend Luis, texted me saying that he really enjoyed the Wolf People episode, and he said that it got him to listen to Wolf People and that he loved it. So, hey guys, listen to us. We know what's right.
We know what
We
we're
know what's
talking
good.
about. You don't need to go to anyone else. We're right here.
No Fantanos, no
No, don't.
pitchforks.
Mm-mm,
Just
no,
stop with that.
just us. It's just
Yeah.
us from now on. You promise?
Just
Do you
listen to one
promise?
white lady and a white passing man, and we know what we're talking about.
A white passing man.
Yeah, no one knows I'm Hispanic until I tell them.
Ay, ay, ay.
Anyway, let us know what you guys thought about this record, and let us know if there's an album that you guys want us to talk about. You can follow our Instagram. We don't do much on it, but it's at EBPcast. If you guys want to watch this on YouTube, go search Earbuds Podcast. You'll find it on YouTube. If you guys are listening to it on Spotify, you're going to be able to hear our choice nugs. We're going to actually be able to play them. But if not, you're listening to it somewhere else. There's not going to be any music. Blame record label for being assholes. But either way, you have a lot of opportunities and different ways you can listen to this. Tell your friends, rate and review us, please. We need it. And Ash, this was good.
Lucas, this was good.
And 10 more minutes.
Bye, 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 bye. Bye.
But I was going to do 10 more minutes.
I already stopped recording. Great. Okay, see you.